Good evening. My name is Mike Wickers. I am the mayor of Cottonwood Heights. Today is Tuesday, August 6, 2024, and this is the Cottonwood Heights City Council business meeting. I have asked Councilmember Suzanne Highland to get us started tonight by citing the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in repeating the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, with liberty and
Thank you, Councilmember Highland. So our item 3 on our agenda this evening, we have a special acknowledgement. We have for those of you that don't know, we have a youth city council in our city. And council member Ellen Burrell is the liaison for this youth city council. And every year they select a mayor. And so what we're going to do is actually, I'm going to turn the time over to council member Ellen Burrell to tell you all about it.
Hello, everyone. I'm really enthused about our agenda item here to have Marianne Jensen, the Youth City Council Mayor. She was elected this spring. She attends Brighton High School. She's a very accomplished young woman, and it's my privilege to work with her and the roughly 30 members of the Youth City Council. They applied this spring. Several of them were still at Butler Middle School or other middle schools. And the criteria is that they have to either go to school in Cottonwood Heights or reside in Cottonwood Heights. And we could ask our mayor whether any of her council members in the Youth City Council actually reside outside of the boundaries of Cottonwood Heights. I don't know if that came to be. But it's a wonderful program. These youth are very dedicated to supporting our city in many ways. I'm going to let her describe a little bit more about the organization of the Youth City Council and some of the things she'd like to see in her term as mayor. And then when she's done with that, she's going to take about 2 minutes to do that. I have a really wonderful surprise for you. And I'll explain that more when she's done with her remarks. So let me turn that to Marianne Jensen.
As she said, I am the mayor of the Youth City Council. It is a wonderful program where the youth of Cottonwood Heights get to come together and actually make a difference here in the community. As Youth City Council mayor, some of the things that I do is reside over the Youth City Council. And some of the things that we do is we help at Butlerville Days. We helped clean the park. We helped in the information booth. We also help at many town and city activities like the Monster Mash Halloween party. We help at the Easter egg hunt and other things like that. We also take time to learn about what the city does. We've talked to the city manager. We've talked to the mayor, we've talked to a couple of other people just to learn what the officials do in the city because, as Ellen says, we are the future of Cottonwood Heights, so might as well learn what it is now so that way we can prepare for when we are taking those roles.
So
Councilmember Burrell, will you talk in the microphone so that the nobody online will be able to hear?
I think our challenge is that part of her auditory performance, she chose out of several different areas of communication opportunities to give a 10-minute auditory. Now, she's chosen the subject matter. She has been performing this now for several months. And when she traveled to Iowa, she performed this in front of a number of judges a number of times. So I would like her to be able to give her wonderful performance, which I've seen before, It's on a fascinating subject called intersectional feminism. And I thought it would benefit all of us, certainly all of our council and staff, to learn a little bit more, but also come to appreciate the amazing organizational and communication skills that Marianne Jensen has developed. We're really fortunate to have her as our mayor. And I don't think she can really carry this around very well. But why don't you come? Yeah.
What if you were to turn that thing around and stand on the other side?
Well, the thing is that one of the great things about her performance is the movement that she has created to communicate. So I don't know how important it is to have this recorded. Are you sure you can modify?
Seriously.
Okay, then we'll. Everyone can see it pretty well.
So as she said before, I am on the Brighton High School speech and debate team. I am the speech captain. I have been competing in speech and debate since 8th grade, and in 2 weeks I will be starting my junior year of high school at Brighton High School. I'm very excited for it. I compete in an event that is called Original Oratory. It is where you write a 7 to 10-minute speech about a topic of your choice in order to advocate for that topic. As she said, I chose the topic of intersectional feminism, and I worked on this speech since the beginning of the school year. And at the end of the school year, I qualified to go to the National Speech and Debate Association's national tournament in Des Moines, Iowa, where I competed and came in the top 30% of original oratory speakers in the nation. I will be giving you guys that speech. Normally, I have a little bit of space, like a little stage. Not really, I compete in classrooms, but a little bit of space to do a speaker's triangle and some movements, but I have modified it so I can do it for the microphone. So all of you guys can hear it, everyone online can hear it, and you guys can hear it as well. I present to you the F word. In the English language, there's one word above all that's striking, highly misused, and has a very negative connotation attached to it. The F word. Feminism. Some believe feminism means women are superior and will take over the world, but that is not true. That is matriarchy. The term feminism was first used in the 1830s to describe the pursuit of equal rights for women, and only women. But times changed, and so did the definition. Over time, feminism became the fight for equality among all genders. But that wasn't enough. In 1989, civil rights activist Kimberly Crenshaw coined the term intersectional feminism, which brought all aspects of identity into the definition. Through all this, the definition of feminism has changed. The usage, however, has remained the same. So allow me to be your tour guide as we hop aboard this bus together to discover the road where feminism was paved, by first going to the Museum of Ancient Cultures, then the landmark where intersectional feminism was born, and finally end at Mattel headquarters. So by the time we disembark, we'll all be in the same lane when it comes to feminism. Here we are, the Museum of Ancient Cultures. They're having a guest lecturer from Oxford. Let's go listen. Throughout history, political systems were often structured to favor men over women. This is inequality. We see this in the exhibits for ancient Greece and the Shang dynasty, and let's not forget about the Bible. So, historically speaking, we can't determine when inequality began, but we can determine when it was first recorded. Hammurabi, the sixth king of Babylon, wrote a set of laws. Many were just reinforcements of how society worked at the time. The most well-known of his laws is the following. If a man put out the eye of another man, his eye shall be put out. That law is about equality, but many of his other laws aren't. For example, if a man put out the eye of another man's slave, he shall pay back 1/2 its value. Let's not forget about Law 141. If a man's wife who lives in his house wishes to leave it and he offer her release, she may go on her way. But if he does not wish to release her, and he take a new wife, she shall remain as servant in her husband's house. These laws have existed for over 4,000 years, and these norms existed even before then. We need to pave a whole new road, and we can. through feminism. Kind of. Because feminism is only advocating for equality between men and women. Intersectional feminism brings everything else into the picture. But what road did we take to get to intersectional feminism? Well, the 1960s, a Black woman named Emma DeGraffenreid Reed applied for a job at General Motors. When she didn't get the job, she decided to look back at the job requirements, only to find that she filled them all. So she applied again and again and again and again, but was continuously denied. So she did some research, and here's what she found. The people that worked at General Motors at the time consisted of white men, Black men, and white women. That's it. She did not get the job because she was both Black and a woman, and she was not being represented in the company. Eventually, she found some other Black women who were also denied jobs at General Motors, and together they decided to sue the company. Emma was the face of the lawsuit. The judge asked her to qualify the case under one of two labels, either racial discrimination or gender discrimination, not both, so the case was dismissed. Emma and the women kept fighting and eventually got their case to pass, making it the first case to ever qualify under both labels. Kimberly Crenshaw heard about this, and this is when she coined the term intersectional feminism. And to describe it, she used the analogy of an intersection. Let's imagine for a moment the road we're on is gender road, and the intersecting road is racial road. Now, unfortunately, let's imagine Emma gets in a car accident in this intersection, right in the center. A police car zooms onto the scene, and as the officer is writing his report, he asks her which road she was on when she got in this accident. She would say both. She's in the center. Intersection. Oh, feminism. But why is intersectional feminism important today and beyond? Well, humans, much like our roadways, are multidimensional. Gender, class, sexuality, immigrant status, they all intersect to create the people that we are. That is why the basic, fundamental idea of the F word is awesome. But intersectional feminism is even better. And there's one company that represents that better than any other. Welcome to Mattel headquarters, which, for the record, is in El Segundo, California, not Century City, as represented in Barbie the movie. In 1959, Ruth Handler created Barbie so little girls could imagine themselves as not only mothers, but women. Since then, Barbie has had over 300 jobs. She's been an astronaut, paleontologist, fashion designer, Olympic gold medalist, NASCAR driver, and she's run for president in every election since 1992. In 1962, Barbie got her first house and her first car. This was unthinkable for women of the real world, as they couldn't obtain their own credit cards until 12 years later. In 2015, Mattel released the Barbie Fashionista doll line. Barbie fashionistas are amazing because they represent everyone. 35 skin tones, 97 hairstyles, 9 body types, and counting. There are dolls with prosthetic legs, hearing aids, wheelchairs, vitiligo, braces. I got mine off 2 weeks ago. And many others. In April of 2023, a doll with Down syndrome was released. Mattel is teaching kids about intersectionality through play. That's not their only intersectional doll line. In 2018, they released the Barbie Inspiring Women series. We can see some of the dolls on the shelf behind me. Ida B. Wells, Sally Ride, Jane Goodall, Rosa Parks. These women fought, and through their legacies continue to fight and inspire others to join the fight for a world of intersectionality. Collective efforts can change the world. I mean, look at Rosa Parks. I own this doll myself because she's truly an amazing woman. We're taught to stand up for what's right, but she sat down. 2 years ago, I made a pilgrimage to her restored bus, which is on display at the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan. There it was, bus 2857, which drove up and down the roads of Montgomery, Alabama. When I was there, I had the opportunity to sit on this bus. And as I sat in the seat that changed history, a recording of Rosa Parks' voice was played over the bus's intercom. She told her story. Now, much like all of you and you, I've heard her story a million times, and I could recite it by heart. But there was something so special and different about when she told it, because there were some things I had never heard before. On Thursday, December the 1st, 1955, she got on the bus to go home from work. She sat in the 5th row, the first row of the colored section, unless a white passenger needed the seat. At the third stop, one white man got on the bus. It was very full, so by law, she had to give up her seat. The three black passengers sitting next to her all got up and moved, but she remained seated. Because you have to realize, in this situation, it's not an eye for an eye. It's 4 black passengers have to move so 1 white passenger can sit. That is not equality. That is why she remained seated. James Blake, the bus driver, asked her to move, but she didn't. Not even after he called the police, so she was arrested. But just over a year later, segregation on buses ended. Rosa Parks fought for women, she fought for men, she fought for black rights. She was an intersectional feminist. We have never had equality. Men and women have never been equal. Sure, we had an eye for an eye, but we also had a slave's eye for money, a woman's eye for nothing. 4 black passengers have to move so 1 white passenger can sit, and that is not equality. But we have had construction workers for each generation to help us pave the way to equality. Emma DeGraffenreid Reed and Kimberly Crenshaw, Ruth Handler and Barbie, James Blake and Rosa Parks. And from this day forward, you, 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 all of you, and you watching online, and me. I challenge all of us to use the F word correctly so we can pave the way to equality. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Jensen, for inspiring us, and we're so glad to have you with us in our business session tonight.
Thank you again. You can see why we're very proud of Mayor Jensen. So thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to a citizen comment period. This is a time for citizens to address the city council concerning whatever they desire. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. Please review the public comment procedures on the last page of tonight's agenda. If you haven't already filled out a speaker comment card, please do so and hand it to a staff member. When making comments, please speak into the microphone so that your comments can be recorded. Give your name, and please avoid insulting language or comments. The audience should also avoid expressions of support or disagreement so that all will feel safe to express their thoughts. Council's here to listen, but this is not a setting where we'll engage back and forth. If you do raise questions, staff will respond to you within a few business days, as long as you've given us your contact information. The first comment card that I have for this evening is Vasilia Kareev. And okay, come and say that louder for us. What was it?
Vasilisa.
Vasilisa.
Yes.
And how do you say the last name?
Kiriev.
Kiriev.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Thank you
Good.
so much for letting me speak. Just regarding the parking problem on Timberline Drive where the Ferguson Trailhead is. I just wanted to let you know the parking problem on the street has reached a critical point, causing significant frustration for residents. It has an increasing number of vehicles and limited space, which is just causing constant flow of traffic. It's very just different people coming and parking in front of my house, in front of everyone else's house, using my driveway to back in and out. So I constantly get pops up on my Ring camera that people are using my driveway too. But other than that, that was my biggest point. It's just causing a lot of frustration for residents. People that know that the park is down there with more spaces and are still using our street to park. It's just kind of frustrating. So that's just what I wanted to bring up. So thank you so much.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Cecily Johnson. Did I say that correctly? Great. Hi, Cecily.
Hi, Cecily Johnson. I also live on Timberline Drive. I live right north of the trailhead. I've lived here for a little over 8 years. The parking has significantly gotten worse over the years. It was not terrible when I first moved in. It's gotten pretty bad. People do constantly park in front of my house, leave trash in my yard, leave trash everywhere because we're going to take the parking out. So you took out all the garbage cans. So there are no garbage cans there except the ones that are clear on the south end of the parking. So all of the parking spaces on the north, they just drop trash in the street, drop it in my yard, put it in my garbage cans, which is fine because I don't care about that. But it's a lot of dog poop. So it's kind of out of control. There's traffic constantly up and down the street. When I back out of my driveway, oftentimes there will people be just sitting at the bottom of the driveway waiting for a parking spot and in the way, so I can't even get out and have to wait for them to move. So mostly on the weekends, but it's even bad on like Fridays now too. So it's just way too much congestion on a dead end street. And I think it would make a lot more sense for the parking to end up in the where the dog park is, where there's a reasonable amount of parking left. So, and they leave lots of garbage. Like I've picked up cases of beer that were full that were sitting by the amphitheater, all kinds of things. I hike there most days and I pick up lots and lots of trash. So I would really like the garbage cans back if the parking stays. Either way, actually. So that's all.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Cecily. Yep. The next one I have is Gary Comagier. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Hi, Gary.
Hi, how are you doing? I live in the far west end of Timberline Drive. My house is on the corner of Timberline and Prospector. And I can too attest the traffic going up and down, continuously up, and then not finding the parking places and come down. And people walking up, which is fine because I sit out on my front porch and wave to them and we have an interaction. But something else I want to address. This trail is going to be an important point of access to the Bonneville Lakeshore Trail eventually, which is going to increase traffic even more. They've got a beautiful facility in Ferguson Park down below. As the traffic increases, the consternation and the stress is going to increase. We can now use this as a model, if we do it right, for further neighborhoods that would be impacted by an access trail. They're going to be up along the side, up and down the Wasatch Front. Eventually, the trail's going to supposedly traverse the whole Wasatch Front. It's going to be an important access and an enjoyment for many, many people. This could be a model for that type of access. Or it could be an omen for people who are asked to give access and complain and point to us and say, look at all the problems they're having in the future. I think what we should do is use this as a model for future access points, and where the neighbors, the community, government can work together to form this model so all enjoyments for all to enjoy. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Next speaker is Marilee Christensen. Hi, Marilee.
Good to see you. Good to be here. Thank you. Thank you for building such a lovely parking area and dog park. It's beautiful and we hope that more people will use it, especially the parking. Because the only time they use it is when the stalls on our street are full. So just to give you a little indication of how bad it is, I counted the cars 3 different times. Now, at the time I counted it, there were only 11 homes north of me that had people living in them. 3 homes were vacant. On May 18th, from 8 a.m. to 12, and I know this because I sat at my computer in the window for 4 hours, 75 cars in those 4-hour period. On May 19th, from 11:10 to 11:30, 16 cars drove up looking for parking spaces, turned around and came back down. On May 27th, from 11:55 to 12:55, 30 cars came up our street, turned around, and went back down. Now, we are a dead-end residential street, and we have traffic like, a lot, right? And I spent a lot of time out in my yard, so I see the people that drive up. Mainly, a lot of them have dogs. They don't find a spot. They zip back down the road. They go park, and then I see them walking up because I recognize them from their car. So they will park down there if they have to. And it's not that far. I'm 76 and I walk that hill all the time. Now, the average age of the people that use that trail are not 76. They're like 25 or 35. So I know they can do it. I've seen them walk up with their hiking backpacks. They're strong, youthful people. And when they can't find a place to park on our street after coming up, because they all come up to look for the spot, like everybody tries to find the closest grocery parking spot. They all come up first and then they go back down to find, and then they park in the lovely parking lot which you have built. So I am pleading. I've been pleading my cause for 3 years now, ever since the development started, that you guys said you were going to take the parking off, and I believed you. So I hope we can come together and make that happen. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mary Lee. Brad Buswell. Hi, Brad.
Hello. Hello, Mayor and City Council. Thanks for your time and letting me speak to you tonight. Yeah, I'm Brad Buswell, live in District 2. Been here in Cottonwood Heights for over 5 years. The subject of my comment tonight is to urge the city to prioritize safe streets for everyone, not just those in their personal vehicles. I work just across the Cottonwood Heights Midvale border along Union Park Avenue. I normally bike to work, as well as making other personal trips by bike. For example, I drop off my daughter at daycare, run errands, sometimes buy groceries. I understand that I'm a high confidence bike rider. I don't expect others to ride their bikes or walk in Cottonwood Heights like I do, because simply the streets and roads in this city aren't all that safe for people biking and walking. The streets were designed for, first and foremost, with vehicle traffic in mind. I understand that we are budget constrained and that changes to make Cottonwood Heights more walkable and bikeable is a long, deliberate process and journey, but I hope that the City Council will always put safety of all users first when considering street maintenance projects or new capital investments. The proposed town center project is a perfect opportunity to reimagine Fort Union Boulevard and 23rd East to make it safe for people outside their vehicles. While visiting the Butlerville Days Town Center booth, I noticed that the conceptual images show Fort Union Boulevard reduced to one lane in each direction along Fort Union. This would be a massive improvement for the safety, comfort, accessibility, and sense of place for the new town center. Not that this was the purpose, but the current Hawk signal installation near Bella Vista was quite the pilot program for what the impact along Fort Union would be if we reduced to one lane in each direction. It so happened that my bike was in the shop for repairs during that week, and I was compelled to drive to work. I passed through the Bella Vista stretch during peak traffic times on my way to and from work. Due to the visual narrowing of the road because of the traffic cones, speeds were reduced to about 30 miles per hour. I want to point out that the reduced travel lanes did not impair or delay my journey at all. Traffic did not back up at all. It was still smooth sailing right through that section. If we reduce traffic to one lane in each direction, we could free up space in the public right-of-way for protected bike lanes and wider sidewalks, and this would have little, if any, impact on the flow of vehicles in the area, while greatly improving safety for all road users, including those biking or walking. I urge you to take advantage of the generational opportunity provided by the Town Center project to reimagine our public streets, to give our citizens choices of how to get around our beautiful city. Please make our city safer, not only for those inside vehicles, but especially for the people outside vehicles. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Brad, for your comments. Christina. Yeah, why don't you come up and tell us how you say your last name? Saturian, sorry. So the T is silent?
Yeah, it's yeah.
Okay, sorry.
But yeah,
Hi, Christina.
Satorian is great. Hi, thank you for listening to our comments tonight. Thank you for the comments of all the former speakers. Regarding street safety, I'm also a Timberline Drive resident, and I think that the parking spots on the street do cause a safety issue as well, because it's a bit of a blind corner when you come up the road, and people tend to go pretty quick. So I think eliminating the parking spots there would be a great boon to the safety on the street. Also, I feel that there are some environmental implications of having the parking spots there, because people do tend to kind of idle, hover around waiting for spots to open, and you just have a lot of engines running all the time, and it's just not a very pleasant atmosphere. So, yeah, I agree with all the other points that my neighbors made as well, and I would just really appreciate it if efforts were made to eliminate those parking spots. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chrissy. She wrote I could call her Chrissy, so. Vinny Pham. Did I say that right?
80% of my neighbors are here, so it's awesome. Great turnout. I live in this Congo cities here 20-some years now, and so my address is 7683 South with the two houses passing the park, and I witnessed number of things that I don't like, and my neighbor pretty much addressed all the issues there, and I agree with them 100% on the trash side of things. On the parking, illegal parking, especially during holidays and weekends, of course, they don't have the permit that we have there. And those cars just drive into my driveway and back it out, and the weight of those cars turning in my driveway, number of years now, and starting chipping up my chunk of my driveway. And anyway, so I don't like that. So yes, I do support removing the parking stalls there. Just to end up this, I want to thank you all for all the good things you've been done. I've seen great things like you, the road surface is nicer, the road signs better, the faster snow removal is great. Who doesn't like that? And the best part is you guys just improved the Prospector and Timberline intersection there. That's awesome. My 16 years old daughters love it when she turned into there. So it's awesome. Thank you very much. And I love my neighbors, my neighborhood, and I'm not planning to move anytime soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinny. What a great comment. Zongbo McNall. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, mostly.
Mostly.
I go by Zoe, so all my neighbors, that's my official name. So yeah, thank you for all your time. I also live on Timberline Drive. Most of my neighbors already described the safety issue. I also have two little children, so there's more young family moving to the neighborhood. So there's more children running around. So it's for us, I feel like it definitely is a safety concern. But on top of that, over the last few years, I noticed something that's not expected because the traffic increased. So there's bringing in more diverse population people that's coming over. We've had incidents of broken glasses, beer glasses smashed to the curb. We just couple houses down. There's one incident, my husband found needles in the parking lot. He kind of informed all the neighbors on next door, be like, oh, don't let your children come around. There's some stuff there that's not safe. So I just feel like it is a very beautiful area, but it's bringing in these activities that doesn't really belong there. So yeah, that's what I just want you guys to know. Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Roy Piscottle? Okay. Boy, these are not easy tonight. So
No problem.
say hi, Roy.
My name's Roy Piscadlo. Thank you for your time. I am running for House District 41, but I'm speaking here as a citizen of Cottonwood Heights. I've lived in Cottonwood Heights for about 24 years. And I wanted to talk to you about something a little bit a dry topic, but it does deal with development and like Wasatch Boulevard and 7200 South, which is a form-based code method of managing and streamlining development. Form-based code sounds great. It is pitched as a way of streamlining the process of designing, approving, and developing public and private spaces. The promised beneficiaries of form-based code are the public, city managers, you guys, and developers. But in reality, form-based code is a remake of a governing process that was first implemented by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt in the 1940s that ultimately disenfranchises the average citizen. The Supreme Court has recently overturned a core principle of FDR's streamlined process. Form-based code follows the same path as FDR's original idea of streamlining government by streamlining the development process and development decisions. City managers and citizens are supposed to agree upon or development objectives for a given area, for example, the Ferguson Trail, and then they're supposed to write those down in plain English, but then so that everybody can understand what the intent was for that specific area, the form-based code. In reality, form-based codes are abstract development plans, and form-based codes include streamlined administrative provisions that enable landowners and developers to obtain approval of most projects once the form-based code has been approved. Just like FDR's original plans to streamline government, the average citizen isn't going to realize what they have agreed to when they've agreed to a form-based code in the abstract. So when you actually go and develop a specific area consistent with the theoretical agreement on the form-based code, people are going to say, I didn't really understand what I was agreeing to in the first place. So really, the developer and we're seeing this in some of the things that are going on right now. Citizens are suddenly saying, okay, like the park up along Wasatch Boulevard by Bengal. A lot of people have moved into that area. They thought that the development was going to be, oops. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Roy. Appreciate your comments.
Since I represent District 4, I would just like to let you know that form-based code was not used for the Dover Hills project. That was a PDD. So just to clarify, if you don't like the projects that you're seeing in District 4, and there's a number of them that I get complaints on, none of them used form-based code. Form-based code is something new that has not been utilized in Cottonwood Heights.
Thank you. So the next comment is for Woody Beardsley. Hi, Woody.
You got an easy one this time.
I like it.
Hello, thanks for your time. My name is Woody Beardsley. I'm here with the Timberline crew to represent. I live at the end of the circle. I've been there since '88, so quite a while. I've seen a lot of changes in Ferguson, the canyon, and the access from since before it was incorporated. It's kind of the Wild West then, and tamed down a little bit. You guys parking restriction enforcement. Then with the building of the parking spaces there, started getting more traffic, and then with the dog park, I think the whole thing brings more traffic. And since we are a dead end street, every car tends to go down to the end and turn around the circle, and without a lot of regard for, neighborhood speed limits, stuff like that. So I'm just speaking to advocate for the decommissioning of those parking spaces. I think the nice big dog park and ample parking in the Ferguson Park should be sufficient for that, and it would take a lot of pressure off of a quiet dead end street to reduce those. So thanks for your time.
Thanks, Woody. Nancy Hardy. I know I said that one correctly. So.
Hi, Mayor. Hi, City Council. I'm just going to talk about the old mill again. I was just wondering what Cottonwood Heights has done to preserve the old mill and the land around it. every comment that I've read from residents, out wherever I see them, regarding the old mill, everyone wants to preserve it and not increase the zoning around it. The old mill has seen so many changes over the years, what it's been used for, and changes in the people who are responsible for it. And now it's in the hands of Cottonwood Heights. And I think Cottonwood Heights has a responsibility and obligation to preserve it, even though it's on private land. I think there are ways to preserve it. If there's a will, there's a way, and I really believe that with the old mill. The people running Cottonwood Heights will change over the years. You guys will change over the years, planning commissioners, staff, and they're the ones that are making these decisions. But the residents should have some input too, because the residents really want to save it. The Grow family wants to save it. People outside of Cottonwood Heights want to save it. It's just a part of history. It's a part of Utah. And I think other options should be looked at first, because there's no going back. If the old mill's torn down, it's gone forever. And you can't say, well, maybe it was a mistake. Other things can be reversed or changed. Roads, parking lot, everybody's talking about, but you can't change the history of the old mill. Once it's gone, it's gone. And I saw some maps at the last planning commission in that room over there that was showing development of that land, and the old mill wasn't necessarily included. It was higher density, and but I would like to know what's being done about preserving it. And also, there's a lot of land on the east side of Wasatch that will be so available to build anything that anybody, you could make it as lots of character, scenic, low density, high density, all of that in a matter of time. But I think right now, look at what's in front of us and ahead of us, saving the old mill. Thank you.
Thanks, Nancy. We'll have someone from staff reach out to you. Audrey Pines. Hi, Audrey.
Hi, you guys. It's nice to see everybody. I hope you're enjoying your summer. Welcome to our new city manager. I've taken some notes because I was sitting in the business meeting, so I hope this makes sense. I wanted to talk about really quickly the Health Coalition. I personally do not want another employee hired by our city. Well, we don't need anyone to tell us what to eat, not to go in the sun, or how to work out. But I think our police, what I've heard from the police is they have a problem with mental health. So if we can put any money towards them, I think that would be really helpful. The other thing is the Ferguson Trail, as I'm listening to everybody, I live across from it. There is a lot of crime in that parking lot. What you guys are talking about the speeding and the this and the that, it seems, again, the police are the people that are the ones that need to take more control of it. I don't think getting rid of those parking places is going to get rid of the people driving around there, speeding, the pollution, the litter. And I don't know, I think all the bikes, everybody should just park in the parking lot. And, I don't know, but it seems like the police could take care of a lot of those problems. But what I came to talk to you guys about is the sign out front of, outside my kitchen window that's going to be built. Are you kidding me? Is the Wasatch Boulevard really going to put up a huge freeway sign on, like, right where Ferguson, the dog park is? Is that really going to happen? I thought we had regulations for no huge lighted signs. Anyway, I'd just like to find out a little more information. I saw something being built there in the midst of all the horror that's going outside on there with the development. And then the last thing, since someone brought it up, I'm going to bring it up. I'm not really a fan of taking Fort Union down to 2 lanes. I would love to see Wasatch, our city, be more of a recreation city. But it seems like there are ways to do a bicycle freeway along 215 opposed to taking apart a main thoroughfare. maybe there are certain parts that would work, but I think that we should maybe think outside of the box about how we can make it more bike friendly and car friendly. Cottonwood Heights is a super car loving area. A lot of the stores and industry that's on Fort Union, I think we have to be really careful about the way we're developing it. There's a lot of drive-throughs, there's a lot of car stores. I just think we need to maybe think outside of the box of building on what organically is already grown on that area. There's a lot of ski rentals, and if you read the form-based code, which was brought up before, it goes against a lot of the organic growth that's in this area that we developed on, opposed to the initial plan that they made.
Thanks, Audrey. We'll have somebody contact you. Yep, thank you. And the last comment card I have is for Kelly Orchard. Hi, Kelly.
Another easy name, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, my name's Kelly Orchard. I live on the corner of Quicksilver and Prospector, which is a half a block below Timberline.
Is there a green light that there?
Oh,
There we
okay.
go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so I've lived in the neighborhood for 30 years, and from my front porch, I can sit and watch all the traffic come up Prospector to look for those parking spots. They turn on Timberline, just like all the neighbors have said, so significant amount more traffic is that I've noticed. But the other thing that hasn't really been discussed is the impact on the roads. You have more cars coming up and down those roads. In the long run, those roads are going to wear out faster. That's going to cost taxpayer money to replace all the road damage from all the cars coming up and down that street. So that's something to consider. And when those parking stalls all are removed up at Timberline, I think a lot of people are still going to be trying to drive up there and say, oh, where's the parking? So it may be a good idea to have a sign at the new parking lot entrance saying no parking in any of the neighborhoods anymore, just so people can know that there's no parking up there. So that's my words of advice. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate all the comments. Any comments that we need to submit onto the record, Paula or Jared? Okay, great. Thank you. I will close the citizen comment period. We'll move on to item number 5, which is 2 legislative action items for the council to consider. Earlier in our work session, we discussed the possibility of voting on consideration of ordinance 419, adopting new Part 8 Public Health Advisory Committee of Chapter 2.140, Standing Advisory Committees, Volunteers of the Cottonwood Heights Code of Ordinances. Due to our discussion in our work session, at this point, I will entertain a motion to continue without a date certain this item.
I motion that we make this 5.1 consideration of ordinance 419 continued without date.
I'll second that.
A motion to approve from Councilmember Burrell and a second from Councilmember Highland. Any other questions or comments from the council? None, I'll call for the vote, or actually we will voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Move on to item 5.2, consideration of resolution 2024-54, approving agreement for construction management services. We had the opportunity to discuss this item a little bit earlier in our work session. Any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2024-54, approving agreement for construction management services.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution 2024-54.
I'll second.
Motion to approve from Councilmember Newell and a second from Councilmember Highland. Final questions, comments? And none, I'll call for the vote. Councilmember Highland.
Yes.
Councilmember Newell.
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
And I will vote yes. The next item on our agenda is item 6, approval of the consent calendar, which is the minutes from our city council work session and city council business meeting from July 16th, 2024. Can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'll motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And then I'm going to give just a couple minutes to Councilmember Newell before we adjourn.
I just wanted to take a moment and thank our youth mayor for the oration that she gave us this evening. I serve on the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights on the advisory committee for Utah, for the state of Utah. And we're actually working on a report for the state discussing our education system and issues going on with our education system. Hearing you this evening was energizing, thought-provoking, and it gives me a platform to go back to the commission to have a discussion about the positive sides of our education system. And I just appreciate you so much for taking the time to present to us and to actually show that we have dynamic young people in our community that are going to forge the way to new leadership in guiding us in the right direction when we talk about intersections within our social environment. Thank you very much.
Sounds like Mary Ann, you got invited to do it again somewhere else.
Hey, don't hear it yet.
I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.